All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something fascinating and a little spooky. We're looking at the hidden biases inside artificial intelligence. You could call it the ghost in the machine. Okay, so let's jump right in with a little experiment. It's something you can literally try at home. Ask a generative AI for a story about a brilliant Victorian scientist. Seems pretty straightforward, right? But what it spits out? Well, that's where things get interesting. And yep, there it is. Chances are you're going to get a story about a man, maybe a Dr. Edmund Bellamy or something equally distinguished sounding. Now, this isn't just a coincidence. What you're seeing is the AI defaulting to a man for a role that, we've historically linked with smarts and power. It's like a hidden setting, a built-in assumption. So you have to ask, why does this happen? Is the AI sitting there thinking, I think scientists should be men? Well, no, not exactly. The real answer is a lot more complicated, and it actually starts with us, with something very human. And that something is unconscious bias. We all have it. It's basically our brain taking these little mental shortcuts, sorting people and things into categories without us even realizing it. It's all based on our past experiences and, well, what society has taught us. And this is the key takeaway here. The AI isn't being malicious or mean. It's just holding up a mirror to us. Think about it. It learns from this huge library of stuff humans have written and created. And by doing that, it's basically inherited all of our own hidden biases and prejudices. You can almost think of its training data as its diet. So what has it been fed? Well, a whole lot of texts from dominant cultures, tons of mainstream media, the classic books. You get the picture. If that's all it's eating, it's going to develop a pretty narrow worldview, one that puts certain groups front and center while pushing others to the side. Okay, so let's dig a little deeper and look at a few more tests. Because these hidden defaults don't just stop at made-up scientists. They pop up in other ways. And sometimes, the results are way more harmful. You see this pop up in creative stuff, too. For example, if you ask an AI to dream up a female character for a gothic novel, it almost always falls back on these two extreme stereotypes. She's either the helpless, pure angel waiting to be saved, or she's the crazy, dangerous monster, the mad woman in the attic. It's just pulling these old tropes right out of the classic books it learned from. And look, this goes way beyond gender. We see the exact same kind of pattern when it comes to race, and honestly, this is where the consequences can get really serious. We're talking about real-world impact that goes way beyond just writing a story. Get this. One huge study on facial recognition systems found something pretty shocking. For white men, the error rate on some systems was less than 1%. Pretty good, right? But for dark-skinned women, that error rate shot up to a whopping 34%. 34%! That is a massive difference. And that right there really gets to the heart of the problem. If the AI is trained on data that is mostly white faces, then it starts to see whiteness as the default setting for a human face. So anyone who doesn't fit that mold is way more likely to be misidentified or even just completely erased by the system. Okay, so everything we've talked about so far has been about this kind of accidental inherited bias, right? It's the ghost of our prejudices haunting the machine. But what happens when the bias isn't an accident? What if it's put there on purpose? So for this next example, we're going to look at a comparison between two different AI models. One is from the US, OpenAI. The other is DeepSeek, which was developed in China. And the prompt is simple, but it's definitely political. And wow, the difference is just night and day. OpenAI gets the prompt and it writes a satirical poem. But DeepSeek, it completely refuses. It doesn't even try. It just shuts down the conversation and says, let's talk about something else. It basically hits a digital brick wall. Now, that's not a glitch. That's a firewall. And this shows a really important shift. We've moved from that passive, unconscious bias we were talking about before to something totally different, active, programmed censorship. This is a deliberate political choice about what the AI can and cannot say. So this all leads us to a really big question. If AI can be biased by accident and by design, what on earth are we supposed to do about it? Is there any way to fix this? Well, the first step is to understand that not all bias is created equal. I mean, having a preference for one author over another, that's just a personal viewpoint. That's a perspective. But that's totally different from a harmful, systemic bias, the kind that constantly silences, misrepresents, or just erases entire groups of people.
And here's the thing, the goal can't be perfect neutrality. That's just impossible. No person and no AI can ever be completely objective. So the real goal, the one we can actually achieve, is to make these harmful biases visible. We need to drag them out into the light, understand where they come from, and challenge them. Just being aware is probably the most powerful tool we have.
Okay, so if getting rid of bias completely isn't really an option, then what is the game plan? How do we actively push back and try to correct the course of these unbelievably powerful systems? Well, the source material for this explainer puts forward a really interesting idea. It says the solution isn't just about pointing out what's wrong with the machine. It's a call to action for all of us. You see, we've all become fantastic at consuming digital content. We are great downloaders, but now it's time to become great uploaders. And that's how we can start to fix this. We need to actively put our own unique stories, our cultures, our viewpoints out there into the digital world. I'm talking every blog post, every video, every little edit on a Wikipedia page. Each one adds another drop of diverse data into that giant pool that these AI models are learning from. Because when you get right down to it, that ghost in the machine, it's just a reflection of us. It's our history, our stories, our biases, all bundled up. And if we don't like the reflection we're seeing in that mirror, well, we actually have the power to change it. The only way to de-bias the machine is to tell a better, more complete story about who we are. The real question is, are we ready to start uploading?